Hi guys, how you going? First things first, Merry Bloody Christmas. I hope you're all feeling as festive as I am. Got your tinsel on, got your ridiculous Santa hats on, of Santa going down chimneys. Hope you've all had a wonderful, wonderful day if you're watching this during or after Christmas. If it's before Christmas that you're watching it, fantastic. I hope this video gets uploaded in time. Probably not though, because I'm about to head off to lunch pretty soon and I'm probably not going to upload it in the car. So you'll most likely see it afterwards. Anyway, whatever you celebrate, however you celebrate, I hope you had a friggin' amazing day. I really, really wish you all the best for not only the past year, but the new year and all that good stuff. Anyway, let's talk about the damage contest. I said I wanted to make a video for it, so I'll present you a scenario in which you enter the damage contest and you see this little guy right here. One golden trichloma, it's a speed type and it's got 5,000 friggin' bars of HP. And a little counter over its head saying 7, and you go, what does that mean? Well, I'm here to talk you through hopefully the best way for you to make the most points out of the damage contest. Again, I'll give a couple of examples. We'll get to it when we get to it, but hopefully this video helps you out in maximizing your score. If there's any way I think you think I can improve the video, definitely let me know, and if you want some advice, definitely, again, as always, come to my Discord and we'll have a little chat about it. Anyway, first things first, so you see our little friend here. Come on, man, they never want to load anymore. Alright, you see our little friend here. And you take 6 of your best medals and 1 of your friend medals, and you jump into the fray, and what do you know, the counter's going down every single time you hit it. So you go bang, 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 and you hit it, and the counter eventually reaches 0, and he just poof, disappears. Great. It counts as you defeating it, and you go, awesome, let's move on to the next room. Fantastic. So you know that when the counter reaches 0, the enemy disappears, and you get all the points for it so far. You move on to the next room. Okay, great. So then we reach the next room, and there are 3 there of all the different attributes, and you go, oh crap, that means I need my area of effect medals. So you go back out of the challenge, and you come back in with your strongest, absolute bestest area of effect medals. There's really powerful boys like Sweetheart Beast over here, all this good stuff. Anyway, so you attack the enemies, and the counter's going down again, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. But unfortunately, someone in your party had to be a tryhard and use these bloody 4 telemedals, and that one actually keeps the counter at 1. So the counter is kept at 1, so they don't disappear. It's the end of the turn now, and they haven't disappeared because there's still a counter over their head. So they attack you back, and they deal about 20 bajillion damage and also poison you. And you go, shit, I was not ready for that. So you think, okay, what do I know? I know that I want the counter to reach 0 on the first group of enemies. Sorry, the first single enemy all on his own. Because if the counter reaches 0 on him, then I can actually progress to the next room. If I don't get him to 0, I can't progress to the next room at all. These guys are going to kill me, so I probably want to survive. I want to survive them both and deal the most amount of damage possible. How am I going to do that? Okay, and that's why I really hope you've come to this video, because we're going to talk about that. Okay, the way I understand it, you can probably only last a maximum of 3 turns. I assume, well, I know that second chance will activate, and at pet level 5, if you reach the pet to level 5, it gains basically another second chance ability in everything except name. It's called HP recovery as a trick, not a skill, a trick. So once it has that trick, basically just like second chance, if you get down to 0 HP, it will pop you back up at 1 HP. Okay, so potentially we can survive 2 rounds, sorry, into the third by having second chance activate and also the pet level, the HP recovery trick going off. Okay, but what about the poison? The poison's a really big issue as well. Well, if we're at level 5, fantastic, because we're already going to have a Suna which comes from level 4. That's perfect, that's going to help us out once. But technically we can also get away with having poison resist. And if I may make a brief diversion from the main point of this video, why the hell are the resistance skills so friggin' useless? You can have like damage and raid skills which give an additional 40% damage, which is incredible for raids. You can have friggin' removing 60% of an enemy's defense for either both ground or aerial, or potentially both on a friggin' tier 6 or 7 medal. And it's like, these skills are absolutely incredible and you really, really want to have them, because the alternative is a poison resist that's only 20% effective. Only 20%. So it's like, this trait will only activate 1 in 5 times anyway, and then they'll go, oh yeah, but if you have lots of poison resist, then you'll never get poisoned again, blah blah blah. So what? So friggin' what? Sorry, I got on a massive tangent there. Anyway, if you have poison resist and a Suna, you can probably survive into the third turn with a bit of RNG, because again, if you only have 1 poison resist trait, there will be a lot of RNG involved if you want to deal the maximum amount of damage. Okay, and you also need to buy enough counters over the little mushrooms' heads to actually be able to survive the 3 turns anyway. And actually, on that note, you need enough SP. You need to be very, very careful managing your SP to be able to do the special attacks that you want to do. Anyway, we'll get to that when we get to it. So, what do we need? Why is it loading now? I never used to do this. Anyway. Okay, so with the 7 medals that you have, obviously the 6 of your own, well, 5 of your own, 1 for the pet, 1 for a friend. Being the nature of a damage contest, the most competitive players are absolutely going to have Shion EX or Kari EX or possibly both. If you don't have them, that's really, again, really shit. I really hate that they've divided the community like this into the absolutely haves and have-nots, and it's like, anyway, I've talked about that to death. The simple fact is, Kari EX and Shion EX are going to be absolutely key to doing well in this challenge. So if you have them, well done, that's great, and if you don't, it isn't the end of the world. The contest is only for, you know, Magic Brooms, Mickey and Brooms, which are amazing. They're great medals, obviously, but it isn't the end of the world. We are getting them more frequently now, and yeah, it would be nice if everyone could compete, but again, we've talked about that to death. Anyway, so I'll assume that a lot of the people that are watching this probably have Shion and Kari. So, Shion and Kari, well, one or the other, or potentially both, are going to be very useful in this challenge. The foretellers could be quite useful as well, given that they don't affect the counter at all. Again, it could be very situational into what fits in where for you to manipulate that counter. But if you or a friend, or if you either have one yourself or are able to borrow one or more, it could be very useful for you. Area of effect medals, like we mentioned before, are going to be very important. We will get to that in a second. And extra attack on your medals. This is definitely a huge thing because it all goes into the manipulation part. I don't really have any influential medals on my list that have extra attack, but that doesn't mean that you don't. You could have incredible medals, you could have copycat medals with extra attack on them. So I'm going to show you what I did to sort of plan out my strategy, and I want you guys, if you want to be really competitive, to do the same, bearing in mind which medals have extra attack. You also want to keep in mind your gauges. It's so important to keep in mind of your gauges when you're going into this, you know, effectively 6-turn battle where you've only got a couple of points to restore SP. So if you want to invest in like gauge lowering skills, it's probably not a bad idea. But again, plan it out first. And strategic use of your Nova can definitely mean the difference between a really successful run and not doing so great. So we will get into that right now. So what if an example? Okay, I'm going to give you an example setup. Okay, this player may or may not be based on me. Okay, so I've got a Kari EX, fantastic, and I've got a copycat medal way of copying that. I don't have anything decent with extra attack, and I don't have a pet at level 5 to be honest. So I'm only able to manage 2 turns regardless. So what can I do on my 2 turns? Well, I'm thinking, alright, I want to deal the most amount of damage possible, and in my mind, that means trying to hit with every single medal that I have in those 2 turns. So, again, I don't have extra attack, so I want to use 14 special attacks against the enemy if I possibly can. So how do I do that if the enemy count is only at 7 initially? Well, if we use Kari in the first slot, let's say, and then a copy of Kari in the second, or vice versa, whatever, as long as Kari gets used twice, then, okay, let's say it's first, the counter will go up to 8, and then up to 9 because of the increasing nature of Kari's special attack. And then it will start decreasing from that point onwards, assuming I don't have any foretellers or any other Karis in my slots. So it's going to go bang, 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 8, 7, 6, 5, 4 at the end of the turn. So again, the enemy are going to retaliate because we've reached the end of the turn without the counter falling to 0. And again, because I don't have a pet at level 5, I need second chance to activate. Here begins the RNG. If you have second chance 3, fantastic. You pretty much will never have to worry about it, except in very rare circumstances. I actually only have second chance 2. I literally missed out on second chance 3 in last month's Coliseum. Anyway, so yeah, RNG has begun for me already. I've already failed a couple times because second chance friggin' hasn't kicked in. Anyway, and then Asuna will kick in from the pet to survive the poison. Okay, so I need the counter to hit 0 this turn, because if it doesn't, I'll be killed, and I can't get to the next 3 enemies. Okay, so same thing again. 5 and 6 are because Kyrie's increasing the number twice, and then go bang, 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 5, 4, 3, 2, but I'm going to use the Nova here, because if I don't use the Nova, I'll end up on 1. So I'm going to use the Nova here, which is going to drop the counter down to 1, and then another special attack is going to make the counter drop down to 0. Beautiful, I've hit 0 in the most amount of medals possible. I feel like I've done a lot of damage, and I can now move on. Okay, so now we reach the next room, which has got the 3 enemies in it. Sorry. I would then do this strategy in the next room again, but obviously I can't use Nova twice. When I get to the end of the second turn, again, if I survive from second chance, the enemies are going to have 1 left on the counter, and they're going to kill me, but that's fine. I've theoretically done the absolute most amount of damage that I can. Did the music stop? Okay, again, I just want to stress, this is a completely hypothetical situation. Again, if you have extra attack on some influential metals, you may want to use Kari more than twice. You may want to use, well, we'll get to that in a second. Okay, what about another hypothetical situation in which we do have all the requirements needed to get to 3 turns? We're going to try to do poison resist and get really, really lucky. We're going to have the HP recover, basically give us a full second chance. So we're going to go for the full 3 turns. Okay, and also in this scenario, we have, again, the Kari that we're going to copy twice, and a foreteller either of our own, or that we can borrow from a friend. In this case, I'm going to say we'll borrow it from a friend. Again, this may or may not be based on me. Well, it can't be based on me because I can't 3-turn it, but I definitely was using a foreteller at one point. Alrighty, so same again, very, very similar to the first turn. We're going to go 8, 9, up, and then down, so 8, 7, 6, 5. And again, the counter will stay the same when we use the foreteller, so it'll go 5, 5. We really want poison resist to trigger on the first turn, because if it does trigger on the first turn, fantastic. That means that Asuna will definitely trigger on the second turn. We don't have to worry about it. If it doesn't trigger on the first turn, well, okay, then you really have to pray. Okay, it didn't trigger the first time, but hopefully it will trigger the second time. And most likely it won't if you only have 1 trait, and you'll be disappointed and have to start again, but whatever. This is basically going to be the RNG grind for the next 2 or 3 days whenever this video comes out. Again, you want poison resist to trigger, and hopefully it will. Anyway, so we get to the end of the first turn, and we're going to have either poison resist or Asuna take care of us, and either second chance or HP recover keep us alive. Okay, and same second turn, same as the first. So up to 6, up to 7, and then down 6, 5, 4, 3, 3 to repeat with the foreteller. Again, now the other one of either Asuna or poison resist needs to save us from the poison, and the other is either second chance or HP recover needs to save us from the death aspect. So okay, we're in the third and final turn, up to 4, up to 5, and then again down, 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 down. In against the first enemy, you need to do the Nova for this specific setup, because if you don't, you'll be left with 1 counter again because of the foreteller, so be aware of that. And then again, when we get to the second room with 3 more enemies, we do exactly the same thing again, so we need poison resist to activate again. Ugh, good luck. And then we can finally get the full 3 turns out. I don't think many people are going to be able to do this, simply because there is so much RNG involved with the poison resist, and well, basically, I'm at top 2,000-ish, 2,400-ish right now, only doing this. If I could somehow get this going, like if I had the pet level 5, and the patience enough to roll friggin' poison resist runs, I could get way, way higher in points, but again, I don't think many people are going to be able to do this, simply because poison resist sucks, and also, not everyone has a level 5 pet yet. Again, I sure as hell don't. Again, these are just complete hypothetical situations. Let's say you have extra attack on either. Let's say you have extra attack on a copycat metal, right? That'd be fantastic. That means you could get away with using Kyrie effectively 3 times at the start. So if you were going to draw out your own little one of these, you'd have, let's say it goes up to 8 and then up to 9. And let's say you have a copycat metal in this slot here. You can put like a little 10 down below this 9. And then you go into the next metal, and maybe one of those has extra attack, which is great for you because that takes care of the fact that you have an extra number in your list somehow. So maybe it goes down to 8, sorry, it goes down to 9 and then down to 8, hypothetically, you know. Again, work out what's best for you, and then sort of maybe draw one of these things out, because it is really, really, really time consuming to do multiple runs of this, and you can sort of figure out which run is going to go the best for you. Well, I don't know. Okay. Well, here's my tips for basically how to crank out the most amount of score possible. So you want to get big buffs really, really quickly. And again, if you're using Kairi or Shion EX, oh, by the way, every single time I've said Kairi, you can substitute that with Shion if you have her and not Kairi. That's obviously completely fine. You want to get big buffs really, really, really quickly. So again, if you have Kairi, that's pretty much already taken care of because of how it is, without a doubt, the best buffer in the game by far, such a far margin. So If you're using Kari and copying it potentially, you're definitely taking care of the buffs. Then you want to hit with really big area of effect multipliers really, really hard. Obviously, you want them guilted and with really beneficial skills if you have them. But the next point is think of how much you're spending versus the reward that you're getting. If it was the kind of thing you were going to power up your medals anyway, because you really wanted to power them up, fine, that's really, really good. But if you're going to spend a lot of Mickey and Brooms, think about how many you're going to get back. Yes, there are Mickey and Brooms in the rewards, but not that many. So it's like, I think there's only, 3 or 4-ish. So if you're spending like 5 or 6 or 7, yeah, that may actually help you in the long run for more than just this challenge, but it may leave you high and dry somewhere later on. Again, it's completely up to you, and if you want to spend them, please have fun with the game, be my guest and spend them, but just be careful. You don't want to spend a ton of them and then only get a couple back. If you want to hit that 25 million mark, there's only 4 mushrooms in the challenge, right? Which means you need to be hitting an average of 6.25 million per mushroom, which works out at roughly 2.1 per turn. That's not going to be perfect maths. Obviously, the fact that they're all different attributes on the final set of mushrooms means that some hits are going to be hitting harder than each. So again, it's not like each mushroom needs to have 2.1 million squeezed out of it. In fact, some will need more and some will need less, depending on which attribute you hit with. I'll just mention though, speaking of attributes, friggin' HD King Mickey EX, or whatever the hell it's called, is an amazing medal for this challenge because it deals a hell of a lot of damage that is always going to be super effective. So it will hit every single one of these mushrooms for super effective damage. I've actually been using it as a friend medal, and it's done pretty friggin' well for me, so I'm pretty happy with it. That's pretty much all I want to say, guys. I did want to keep this relatively short, but sort of have a think about what you can do with this challenge. Maybe write up a little list like this. I do like making lists because I'm a big old nerd like that. But yeah, I'll show you guys what I'm up to and what the setup I used real quick. But it's nothing too impressive. But anyway, let's have a look. Alright, so this is roughly what I used to do the challenge. At this point, I haven't actually got the boosters yet for the power type medals, so I can definitely push a lot harder if I go ahead and do that legwork. I didn't actually use a Riku. I used the boosted genie that I got from the last high score challenge, and it did very, very well. But I got one black coat Riku from the last banner, and it's like I need four Mickey and Brooms to guilt the thing, and it's like if there was a guilting campaign right now, I'd really, really, really consider doing it. But the fact that there isn't a guilting campaign right now, and it's like, do I want to spend 4 Mickey and Brooms to maybe only get a couple back? I'm thinking about it. I'm definitely thinking about it. And also, my pet isn't level 35. Isn't level 5. I'm so freaking close, but unfortunately, can't quite hit that level 5 mark. Why am I using Dark or not? What? I'm very, very, very close. But anyway, I hope this video helped you out a little bit, guys. Again, I'm trying to rush off to get to Christmas lunch and all that good stuff. So, yeah, I wish you guys had the really, really just the best day. Yeah. Have an amazing time, guys. I really miss you. Hope you had a fun time. I'll see you later. Bye.